Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Here, as always, I'm your host, Cloud Hudson, and I'll be your meteorologist for the evening, your comedian slash meteorologist. And we're going to be, as always, reviewing what weather happened today. As you can see, I've got a nice new lighting setup. Well, a new feature to my background. I've got these lights, these cool little they're like that Instagram sunset halo light. But I got these at Lowe's for like $11. Or no, actually Home Depot. Oh no. Oh, they're both corporations. But yeah, they change color, and believe it or not, this can show you what kind of color temperature is wrong with my webcam on my Chromebook. This reads as white on the camera right now, but it's actually like a lime green color. So if I put it on the white setting, it reads blue, which I think really highlights why I can't get a good white balance on this camera, because it's very picky. It doesn't want to pick up these nice, I have a lot of nice warm lights in here, and that it's just not picking up the warm end of the spectrum, which is really interesting. But I still don't like putting a cold light on, because if I change my ring light to warm, that's warm, but it's a lot darker. If I change it to white, like blue white, cool white, it's still like, I don't like the way it looks on the skin. Like, this looks a lot healthier, so I'll do both. But yeah, if I put it on the yellow setting, that's what it looks like. This is yellow, this is white. And then I was thinking I wanted to go like maybe a blue, but it doesn't really pop that well on the stream. So I'm just going to leave it on one that matches the incandescent light for now. I also haven't figured out how to program them so that they're two different colors, but allegedly they can do that. The box says that they can have up be one color and down be another color. Kind of disappointed that you can't see how cool these full cones of light look, because it's only the really saturated part that's showing up on the camera, but it really does wash the whole studio with light. So that's really neat. Okay. So we're probably going to talk about light a lot tonight, because I just went outside and saw a 22-degree halo around the moon, which is always really exciting. It's one of the oldest like things I've ever heard of for having like a harbinger of snow. It's called like one of the names is a winter ring. Let me just go ahead and share with you our Wikipedia page for 22-degree halo, so you know what I'm talking about. It's very faint right now, so I couldn't actually take a picture to show you guys it in time to show you guys on this stream, because I would have to do some editing to get it to show up. But this is what I'm seeing outside right now. And I have seen these before, but I don't remember seeing one around a moon that was not in the full phase. Usually a full moon has enough light to do this. But that could just be memory bias. I really don't think that I have seen one of these not around a full moon. We are just past the waxing first quarter moon. So we've got like a little more than half of the moon showing right now, which is an impressive amount of light. This Wikipedia page does a pretty good job of explaining what our current thoughts are of how this occurs. It's kind of similar to cloud iridescence and rainbows, but this happens through hexagonal prisms of ice. It is deflected and gives you the appearance of a ring around the moon, because it is only from that 22 degrees angular radial distance from the moon that you can see this. An easy way to estimate how far away from the moon we're talking is if you spread your thumb and pinky out like this and put your thumb on the moon, like hold it up to the sky, reach your arm out and cover the moon up with your thumb, where your pinky traces out an arc, that's about how far away you would see it in the sky. So it's a really cool example of actual light refracting through the atmosphere, and a good reminder that all of these water, like the water has its own crystalline structure when it freezes, but there's also the larger crystalline structure of the atmosphere itself that can refract light as like a bulk medium, given like different types of clouds. And this Snell's law looks kind of complicated if you're not used to seeing the symbols, but it's actually a really simple, it's a pretty simple calculation once you're not afraid of trigonometry. And you can kind of see the color separation, but that depends on really uniformly sized droplets. Right now, I could only see a kind of like faint whitish blue glow around the moon. So it was there's probably a good mixture of ice crystal sizes, but you have to have them somewhat in a small range together so that you can get the coherence of seeing the light be brighter at some places and darker in others. So that's a really cool thing. There's also, I want to see, does it mention, and this is why it's 22 degrees around, is because of the way that light refracts through ice. Yeah, and so the only difference between it and the corona is that the halo is formed from ice crystals and the corona is formed from water droplets. And in folklore, it is said to warn of approaching storms, the sky being covered by the cirrus or cirrostratus clouds that come before a large storm front. But there are so many things that can produce that uniform of ice crystal in the sky that you need to pair it with other ways of sensing the weather in order to determine whether this was a indicator of coming weather or not. But I've always heard it that ring around the moon is a good sign that snow will come. So maybe there is a chance. Let's go ahead and take a look at not our forecast, but at our actual observations of temperatures today. Starting with weather, because I saw that moon ring and I'm like, yeah, I gotta do some weather. Let me turn this up a little. Is this gonna wash me? No, it's not that bad. Yeah, that's okay. I don't know. It just washes out the ring light when I do that, but I need the ring light to be like right here. Anyway, y'all, eventually we will get this stream to a professional quality, but right now we are doing our best. I also, you might notice there's like slightly less of me on the screen and it's a slightly lower quality. I was hoping it wouldn't slow down my internet so bad, or like the video wouldn't lag as much if I put it on low resolution. So we'll see how this goes tonight. And if it wasn't a noticeable difference in lag, I'm just gonna continue doing the medium to high resolution. Okay, so let's take a look at our temperatures observed today. We saw that cold front spilling in throughout the East Coast, going from really, this is the same cold air that brought us snow in the West Coast earlier in the week, and now we're finally getting it over here. Still seeing some quite wintry weather up in the Northeast, around the Great Lakes area. But we are getting freezing temperatures back down into the deep south. And this is, I think this indicates the beginning of our cold front. I mean, pretty clear. It's like looks like a cold front. Um, let's see what our precipitation was for today. Okay, so got a decent chunk of precipitation down here in the Gulf, still getting a lot over here in the Rockies, and we see a nice band of precipitation moving through the Rust Belt, Midwest to Northeast area, and all of Kentucky and West Virginia and Tennessee pretty much got rain today. Um, let's see if any of this was snowfall for them, or if we've got data on that yet. Do we not have the data on this yet? Maybe. Might be missing our snowfall data today, and I'm not sure why, but it's okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that's about. Let's go ahead and take a look at our Zoom Earth globe so that we can take a nice little gander at the entire globe with radar on. Satellite radar. It still says slow internet connection. That's weird. All right, so we see up here in the Northeast, we got that good these right here, these streaks look like radar anomalies. They look like radar holes. So I'm not sure exactly which station is doing that, but usually when you see those radial bands, that's an anomaly of oh, excuse me. That's an anomaly like supposedly this is from the radar being not computing some of the information right. I'm not really sure what's causing that because I didn't focus on radar in school. I focused on atmospheric optics, the pretty ring around the moon science. That was my jam. I wasn't too into the nuts and bolts of how a radar works, even though, I mean, would have been cool to take that class. I just also had a whole other major to do. So we saw a lot of rain over here in Florida. We're still seeing rain right in Daytona Beach, which is where the Daytona 500 was supposed to be today. I think it was delayed, but I haven't confirmed that. It was supposed to be delayed if we got the rain today, which we did. And they're going to reschedule it for tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow will be better. We'll see. We see a lot of beautiful swirls off both coasts right now. We're seeing a lot of good setup for more winter weather to come throughout the United States. I feel like this has a possibility of being a nice cold player throughout the end of February. Let's see. Did we have one with just precipitation? Heavy pertations. Yeah, okay. So this has got its own nice center of heavy rain. We've got a lot of snow swirling off the coast of between Russia and Alaska right now, and also in this Alaska Canada curve. You know how they all seem to nicely hug the coastlines very beautifully when they're swirling themselves up. Here you can see on the precipitation map, you can see the connection between the northeastern snowstorm and the rain in Florida as they're connecting those two air masses. This is how we get distribution of energy from the equators to the poles and vice versa. Let's go now to... Let's check on our volcanoes. Actually, I want to start with our earthquakes. Maybe it'll show me my earthquakes. Still have the same number of volcanoes up there in the same. Let's go to latest. Okay. 2 hours and 45 minutes ago, we had a 49 minutes ago, we had a 5.0 earthquake in Guerrero, Mexico. Remember, that is the area where we have seen quite a few offshore earthquakes in the past week. We're down on magnitude 5 quakes for the average for today, but we are on the higher side of numbers of quakes. Looks like we're seeing a lot of these like imperceptible low quakes and really not that many in 4 and 5 for what we've been seeing. A lot clustered in the same regions that we have been seeing. These mountains over here between Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, and China. Seeing a lot more over here still in Indonesia, southern Java, the Vanuatu, Fiji, Tonga region, and in New Zealand, we're still seeing magnitude, well, some lower magnitude ones, but some higher as well. Looks like there's the bulk of our quakes today have been here in southern Mexico and Central America. Also seeing still 4.3s up in this area where we've seen the unrest spilling in from the United States, from California, and quite a few here in Texas. We had a 4.7 here in Falls City, Texas, at 6.8 kilometers depth. That seems like people would feel it. Let's see what the user reports say. These are kind of fun to look at sometimes. Yeah. Looks like it was right here, southeast of San Antonio. That's where we've seen a lot of them. People reporting moderate to light shaking. Let me see the readout of any of these. All right. If sitting on the sofa talking on the phone, it felt like I had just run over something, like a couple of medium-sized bumps. If I'd been in the car, I think it says cat, it was up and down, but also made me sway sideways. The dog woke and barked. I've felt rare small tremors before, but this was definitely a new experience. How do you describe something you've never experienced before? That's really cool. My sentiment as well, but drop the word perhaps. Perhaps it is time to stop the fracking. My sentiment as well, but drop the perhaps. That's funny. My felt it in the couch 2 feet from me, and I could not feel a thing. Okay, that's weird. Mobile home shook back and forth. They thought it was the wind advisory, but it was a earthquake. Okay, that's pretty cool. I really like this community science page aspect of volcanoes today. Speaking of volcanoes today, let's go ahead and take a look at our active volcanoes. Let's do volcanoes today. And remember that by the time I do these reports, it's usually the next day UTC time. So this says the 18th. We've got some of the same players going on. Popo still exploding in central Mexico. Let's see anything fun from yesterday's report, from today/yesterday's report. Not too much. Pretty much everybody is still erupting that has been erupting. Let me see if we haven't gone through an Iceland update in a while. Probably because they are in the waning phase of their eruptive cycle. Yeah, look at this. Very, very few earthquakes today throughout the Reykjanes Peninsula in Iceland. Let's see. Their latest news and alert was February 15th when they said that there was probably, this is when the closest they've gotten to issuing a forecast. They said if magma accumulation occurs at the same rate, the threshold volume of magma that was reached in order to trigger eruptions for the past 3 eruptions will be accumulated by the end of February into the beginning of March. So that's like, I think that's pretty significant because that sounds like a forecast to me, and you usually don't see volcano forecasts. So I'm really excited to see that there are scientists finally realizing that there may be some periodicity to this. They issued another hazard map, again, with the Blue Lagoon area still conspicuously low. Not going to editorialize on that any further. But they do have the new magma flows there in the shaded regions. This is the tongue, the magma tongue that has slipped between Silingerfell. No, what is it? What are these two mountains called again? Skoraskogafell and Silingafell. So it slipped right, like really all around Skoraskogafell, is where we've seen the January and the February and December eruptions. The January event was down here closer to Grindavik. So we are in a waiting phase for a refilling of the balloon underneath the main peninsula in Iceland. I believe they are also repairing, they are quick at work repairing the hot water line that you see here. This hot water line right under my cursor, this black line is no, it's not that. That black line is the road. This is the hot water line that's coming directly from the power plant going to Keflavik. But don't worry, this isn't the only power plant on the peninsula. It's just a very significant one. With that, let's go ahead and take a look at today's coronal mass ejections. All right, so a little quieter than the 16th. We've got only 6. Yeah, only 6 coronal mass ejections happened today, and only one of them was potential halo event. Let's take a look at that right now. Oh, beautiful. All right, let's roll that back. Look at this right here. Do you see the pattern right here? This is what 2-dimensional convection looks like. This is what eddy shedding looks like. This is what happens when there's a stream of something so fast that everything off of it, the difference between fast and not fast, creates a spin that creates these little eddies that shed, these little vortexes, these vortice sheddings. That's a really cool image of that, because sometimes we don't get to see that part of it, but you can kind of see it forming here. This is the big ripple effect that's pulling all of the rest of the field around the sun with it. But you can see it here starting from like a nice hairy, beardy looking situation. You also have some petals in this flower. It looks to be like both a 12-petaled flower and a maybe like a 7-petaled flower at the same time, like harmonics of 12 and 7 in there. So really well distributed velocity on that too. Let's go ahead and see what that had, what that translated to for our solar flares. Remember that yesterday we got, first thing in the morning yesterday, we had that big X-class flare. On the 17th, we had that big X2. And then throughout the day, we only had like one M class flare right at the end of the day. And then February 17th, pretty clear, safely in C class territory. We got one that crept up to close to being an M, but remember that these are logarithmic stratifications. So this is, as you get closer, it's a bigger jump to make. So yeah, pretty quiet from our sun after yesterday's X class flare. Now that doesn't mean that nothing's going on though, because we do have, let's take a look at what our Solar Dynamics Observatory data was for today. All right. Oh, very beautiful. Seeing some of these plasma arcs forming, behaving well. They don't look unstable, but we're also seeing some dimming through here. Interesting wishbone shape kind of forming, getting all of that. I wonder if these will swirl together eventually, because it looks like, do you see the little pattern of a swirl of a wave cresting through here? These, I mean, overall, the shape of these looks like that vortex shedding shape that I was talking about. They're like Kelvin Helmholtz waves in the atmosphere. They look like classic ocean waves in the ocean. That nice, beautiful, like a smoke ring, like a two-dimensional slice of what a smoke ring looks like. But really, this exists in 3D, and we're only seeing the bands from the top layer of the sun. But it is a three-dimensional structure of activity that goes into the sun. It has its own spheres of influence and activity, just as the Earth's atmosphere does. You can see some of them kind of popping and sizzling and crackling, but again, not too much activity. Saw right at the beginning this gleam right there. You see some filament tornadoes right there, but nothing too crazy. Just another beautiful day on the sun. Let's go ahead and look at our planetary weather for today. Okay. So, as I talked about yesterday, we have Venus now present in Aquarius, making this a 5-planet stellium in Aquarius. So, and that includes like most of the personal planets too. So, yeah, all the personal planets, well, except for the moon, but like the sun, Mercury, Mars, and Venus are all here in Aquarius. And I wonder if Venus overtakes Mars before the sun leaves, because if so, then they would all be in order of their distance from the sun, which would be a cool arcing shape. Maybe even it would look like the shape of the Parker spirals. But I digress. Let's not forget that we have both the closest planets and the furthest planet in Aquarius. So like our beginning and our end planets of the solar system are all in Aquarius right now, not counting our major asteroids. Speaking of major asteroids, we do still have Chiron here hanging out in Aries, making a sextile to the moon in Gemini. And that moon in Gemini is roughly trine to Mercury in Aquarius. It will be making a more exact trine within the next few hours. We've got Still a nice sextile between Saturn and Jupiter, kind of holding us down, literally holding us down, but like also keeping us secure. I think it could go either way, a positive or a negative interpretation of this aspect of it might be too easy to be relaxed, or it might be too easy to work too hard right now. But having these two in a relationship will um Pisces doesn't have a decan ruled by Saturn, but Taurus does, and uh Taurus doesn't have a decan ruled by Jupiter, but Pisces does, I believe. So that's also an interesting, like, I don't think that's triplicity, but it's like a it's like a whatever the cross between a mutual reception and a triplicity ruler is, there's some sort of like exchange there that I don't know the name for. But it's interesting to note. Um, let's see. Also having, well, we're about to have Mars and Venus move into a square aspect with Jupiter. So that's not quite as fun. But currently, we've got Venus between Pluto and Mars again, but this time she's going to take them over. She's not being enclosed by them attack wise. Like, they didn't squish her into this aspect. She walked into this aspect. So this is a more empowered Venus than the one we saw back at the end of 2021, beginning of 2022. And then, of course, for the planetary days and hours, we are in a Saturn day, and we are about to move into a Saturn hour. It is currently a moon hour, though, that I've been recording this whole podcast in. So, of course, I talked about the moon a little too much. But let me go ahead and see if I can find the article I'm thinking about a moon bow. Yeah, I really like the Farmer's Almanac for now. A lot of meteorologists hate the Farmer's Almanac, and it's kind of used as a rule of thumb of like, are you a better or worse forecaster than the Farmer's Almanac? It could basically be chance. Like, a lot of research has been done into statistical significance of Farmer's Almanac forecasts, and they're only slightly better or worse than chance in different research papers. So I think it really depends on where you're getting your verification data from. But here they have some really cool articles about cultural meteorology, like anthropology of meteorology, ethnometeorology, I guess. Legends say that a moon halo is a warning of bad weather soon. Although it may not be true every time, meteorologists have documented that high cirrus clouds help form moon halos, often come before storm systems. And we looked on the Wikipedia page about why they form at about 22 degrees away from the moon. And they can also, if there's enough coherence, they can form rainbows, which is gorgeous, gorgeous phenomenon. Yeah, that's I mean, I guess that's pretty good for that. Well, I would really like to, let's go ahead and look at our some of our GOES data, because I'd like to see some of this cirrus cloud illustrated for us. Still getting that atmospheric river of moisture from really the tropical Pacific through the Gulf of Mexico, so not losing any moisture there, and spraying all over the southeast. You're still seeing some kind of lake effect type snow here off of Lake Erie, and we're seeing some I think we're also seeing Lake Michigan and Lake Superior fed lake effect snow, but not a whole lot, not a whopper yet. But if it continues like this, it really depends. Like the orientation of the Great Lakes, you want your wind to be getting the most time over the lake as possible in order to get that moisture pickup for lake effect snow. And you can see right here, the winds are oriented very beautifully to create lake effect snow right here in Pennsylvania and New York, whereas they're cutting kind of like perpendicular across Lake Michigan, so they're not getting as great of moisture pickup. Oh, look at this feature out here. See, this is why we always got to look at all the data, because you never see these cool patterns. This is like a ripple effect of, you can see the spreading out of this air mass rippling through. You can see these leading edge curved frontal clouds. That really shows these are really well oriented to show the way that the air mass is flowing. This is like when you, again, I'm going to use the same analogy. I just assume that everybody always played with the water wherever water was available for you as a kid. But like when you take your hand through a big mass of water and just like create a wave that rolls the water over here, you could see leading edge ponding up of water ahead of the wave, and then the big curve behind it. That's how you can kind of picture what's happening here above the Yellowstone area right now. And again, the wind barbs being nice and perpendicular to the shape of that cloud shows that it's a really wind-driven structure from this cloud. Really cool to see this. Also, not letting up on the moisture for California. Just really, really making up for 20 years of drought there so hard. I don't think anybody's concerned about a low water table right now, but if this amount of rain happens in a winter and the farmers still struggle with irrigating their crops, then we're going to need to talk about the water budget in California. Seeing a little bit of ice clouds over Texas here. Let's go ahead. I want to look at the microwave band. Let's look at the microwave band so that we can see these icy clouds. And remember that high level ice clouds in the daytime part will be the red orange right here. That's 6. And the high ice clouds will be dark blue in the nighttime area. So, I mean, still not even, we're showing so much thick, moist clouds, like high, thick clouds, that it's not even showing up as thin ice clouds. It's showing up as thick moisture clouds. Here in Arkansas, you can kind of see the fringes of this storm have that high ice cloud type. And then you can kind of see it underneath where we haven't gotten this Gulf of Moisture. Gulf of Moisture. There I go, calling the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of Moisture again. That's one of my little verbal tics or accidents. I don't even know. But a really cool shot of that that prefrontal ripple zone right here. Let's see, what is this, like yellow green? That's like low cool cloud and mid water cloud. Okay, that makes a lot of sense for what a lake effect snow would look like. And some of these also like fuse together. Like very cold cloud is a little bit harder to distinguish from a mix of thick cloud and mid water cloud, but I guess that makes sense. And then some of this shows up as anywhere that they've got like snowpack on the higher elevations, that's that stationary. It's just sensing the land being a different temperature, and as if it has that very low cool cloud signature. You see that here in the mountains of Mexico and New Mexico. And there was an earthquake over here on the border of New Mexico and Texas the other day. Interesting. All right. So that's our look at the weather for today. Got a lot of cold air setting up into an area that's got a steady stream of moisture. So fingers crossed that we would be able to see some snow. I think this looks favorable for a snow forecast. So I'm going to forecast that somebody's going to forecast snow. Will that happen? We don't know. But I'm here's hoping, you know. We can also see. Yeah, I think that's all I'm picking up from this right now for today. Remember that this is the area where we saw an earthquake. This also as well. Actually, I think the Guerrero coast is this right here. So the place that this fire hose of moisture has been going over is where we saw that 5.0 today. Now, let me go ahead and hide this on stream so it doesn't slow down the connection too much. And we will go ahead and get a little update from the cards. Yeah. Welcome back to the world, cards. The sound of my nails on this polished ocean jasper. It's not as cool as rough, but it is a really cool rock. This was my going away present from a therapist I once had. She moved out, not me. She didn't dump me. She dumped all her clients. By the way, when I got these lights, I was looking for a light bulb that will activate my lava lamp a little better, but they don't. It's kind of hard to find lava lamp bulbs these days. They don't like to make incandescents for a lot of stuff. It's all LED, and you can't really use a heat-powered thing, the LED. They're made to run cooler and they don't put off as much heat power. Okay. All right. Okay. Doing 2 of these today, I guess. Sometimes I don't know how many I'm going to pick. I just ask the cards, like, what are we doing today? It's like, oh, okay. Okay. We've got one that says, you wished for this. You wished for this. And expand time. Is that the verb to expand time, or is that a telling more like it's expand time? The time that it is expanding time. Not sure. I think let's go ahead and look up what that one likes to say about itself. Okay. Expand time says, in instances where it is necessary to complete a task with not enough time to do so, a deal may be struck with time. Each moment of time expanded now is a moment of time contracted later. Decide carefully which grand endeavors are worth such a trade. That resonates with me a lot because yesterday, I think I crammed 3 days into one day yesterday. And today I was like, let's do 1/3 of a day. You really do. You can't just expand time forever. You're pulling from something. It's a continuous fluid time. It's a continuous thing where if you borrow some now, you took it away from something in the future, or you have to save it up ahead of time. You can contract your time ahead of time and then plan to expand it. But it's kind of hard to play with time. Everyone's a time traveler. We all move forward in one direction at one speed in time, usually at one speed, but we can slightly vary the speed that we move in time based on perception. That's a complicated topic that I don't think I even am qualified to talk about yet because I'm still working on it myself. I still got training wheels on my time bike, you know? Maybe some of you are on a time unicycle, but I can't. I'm here I am just telling you what happened today, and that's about as anchored in time as I can be. You wished for this. Let's take a look at that. Because this is giving me interesting thoughts. Okay. For you wished for this. This card says, the thing you want more than anything else is being made manifest. Circumstances that do not support your larger intention must fall away. There is grace in recognizing the bigger picture. You are not a victim of these circumstances. In fact, you are the architect of them. Don't you remember laying down these plans? Are we getting what we asked for? Or is it more like a monkey's paw situation? Like, dang it, I didn't mean to wish for that. I don't know. That one's kind of heavy. I don't know. That's kind of a heavy card to pull at this time in time. That's a doozy. So let's go ahead and get that's our liminal space pull. Next, we will consult the tarot, I believe. Oh, I guess so. Tarot has something to say. Now, please, cards, remember, I am pulling these for everyone who is currently watching and everyone who will watch this. Not just me, so don't get too feisty. Actually, you can be as feisty as you want. This is a chance for sharing. Remember, I do these card pulls as a reading of the cosmic weather, of weather beyond the planetary, of weather beyond the solar system, and that which we can sense with our current scientific, scientific observations. I think this is a immaterial science. This one really wanted to jump out. Is that all? Nope, it's not all. Okay. So for the overall, we have the Judgment card. Final Judgment. It depicts the rapture, kind of. Like, I think it's Angel Gabriel blowing his horn. And maybe I'm wrong. I also saw somebody interpret this card the other day that really sticks out to me. This is the only card in the tarot that you see people's butts. And I think that's a funny way to think of Judgment. Like, yep, we all have an asshole. We all are an asshole in some ways. And that is what will be up on the table when it comes to Judgment. Under that, we got Ten of Pentacles reversed, which is not a fall of fortune, but reversal of fortune in a way. Some things, some sort of entrenched material resource is turning. It's the tables are turning somehow in the material financial world. Under expand time, we pulled the Page of Wands in reverse. So came a few weeks ago, brought a message, and now there it goes. It's about to go away now. That's kind of wild. I can't believe the Page of Wands already came and said his message and it's about to go. That's weird. And then on the same, I think another card that we pulled recently, but now in a reverse order, we had the Six of Cups in reverse, and now we've got the Six of Cups upright, which is a very beneficial, giving, like benefactor kind of energy. And that's under you wished for this. So maybe something you wished for is some sort of benefactor. Maybe some sort of benefactor in your life is going to manifest. Wow. It's kind of heavy, but kind of heavy. I'm saying this is heavy because it's my personal interpretation of these cards, since a lot of people I know, and myself included, have people or things in their life going on that are really like trials and testing their mettle right now. So like the thing that comes right before Judgment. So let's try to buckle down and get through this. Not get through it, but embrace it, because man, yeah, I don't know. I see some sort of something with really like the lessons of the past 4 years coming up. Past 4 to 7 years coming up, as like, did we learn our lesson? Remember what we learned about our health and our bodies and our reason for staying alive and that sort of thing. I feel like this calls for a card from the ever optimistic selenite charged manifestor type deck. Actually, I think these want to be shuffled. I think these want to be selected from, not shuffled. All right. That's a beautiful one. My purpose in life is joy. The basis of your life is freedom. The purpose of your life is joy. You are free to choose new adventures for joy, and in your joyous growth, you will add to the experience of all that is. So, there you go. The purpose of your life is joy. All these things, all these reversals of fortune and messages that come in and times of putting yourself to the test, putting your work to the test, the judgment times, and what you have expanded and contracted and manifest time for, all is for joy. These three here. You wished for this for the purpose of joy, in some way. You wished for this in some purpose of joy kind of way. And this is expanding time. So, with all of that, I hope that y'all are feeling comfortable and safe and can do enough self-care to heal through all of these times that we're in, is all I'm going to say. Oh, I don't think y'all have ever seen it, but I do have a cloud tattoo. That's what you can see right here. It looks like a fucking prison tat, but it's because I let somebody practice on me, and a lot of the ink fell out, but I think it adds to the character because it's of a cloud, and clouds don't even have a very solid density, so it makes sense that the ink would fall out on a cloud tattoo. Plus, now if I ever want to try tattooing myself, I can just blame it on the previous artist. Be like, oh yeah, that totally wasn't me just doodling on myself. But yeah, I actually got this tattoo before my name was Cloud. And I didn't know, it still didn't occur to me. I always knew I wanted to change my name. I think I secretly always knew I wanted to change it to Cloud, but like I wouldn't let myself realize it for a long time. Because it was easier not to know. But I don't know, that might be the Page of Wands thing of sometimes it's easier not to know what you want. And then once you know that you want it, it's like, oh, buddy, now I have to deal with knowing that that's something that I desire. Something might have come up for you in the past 2 weeks or through the development of this last moon cycle where you didn't know that you wanted something, and comes up and it's like, oh no, I didn't even know I wanted it, and I'm starting to manifest it. Whoa. Like this YouTube channel taking off. I don't even know what would happen if it took off, but I think it's already happening. So for all of you here, thank you for coming once again to an episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Again, big story tonight was really fun ring around the moon. It looks like a ring light around the moon. Really cool atmospheric phenomenon happening, but it is also a little bit of a not a harbinger of doom, but like a harbinger of, oh, this is what the groundhog was talking about when it said 6 more weeks of winter. We're getting into those 6 more weeks of winter time. So everybody, love yourself very much. Please do your best to take care of yourself and find patience and love and joy in life, just from your inner self. I not saying that like I do it all the time, just saying like I know that's probably good advice. Okay, I love you all very much. Thank you so much for returning, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Leave a comment down below if you have an opinion on what color these lights should be back here. I can do them on I could do them on auto. Look, they like change colors. I can get them to scroll through. They'll do any kind of colors. So, whatever y'all think, I'll try it out. Okay, this is about an hour, so I'm gonna clock out. Love y'all. Great to see you. Have a good evening. Stay safe. Bye. Bye bye.